What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the largest countdown I've ever done on my channel. A top 50 for the strongest characters from Dynasty Warriors and the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novel. I'm going to be using information from both sources in order to make a conglomerate list. As with all of my lists, if I missed anyone that you think I should have included, please let me know down below. I've done a lot of research on all the characters on my list and the ones that did not make it, and pretty much read the entire novel at this point, trying to deduce and find any piece of information that I can on every single character. With that being said, we've got a lot to cover here, so it's time to count down the strongest characters from the Dynasty Warriors and Romance of the Three Kingdoms novel, starting off with number 50. Alright, starting off our list at number 50, we've got an NPC loyal to Mr. Cao Cao. We've got Cao Hong. Because Cao Hong is portrayed very heroic in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novel, saving Cao Cao's life on numerous occasions, he's going to start off my list at number 50. But I think he's a good start here at number 50 for me. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Next up, coming at number 49, we've got the paintbrush master himself, Ma Dai. Ma Dai's information in the novel was pretty limited. His representation in the game also puts him down here, but within the novel, from what I found, he only killed a couple of miscellaneous people during the Nanman campaign, and that was pretty much it. So that's why he's here at number 49. Now, next up at number 48, we've got Liao Hua. So this was an interesting character from the last video I made because it was noted in the comment section that Liao Hua never lost a duel. From what I've read, he has more victories in duels than most of the characters in the novel, and he actually has lost one. However, due to the fact that most of the people that he beat were low-ranking generals, he's not really considered to be one of the best duelists. He does have a couple of interesting feats. He nearly captured Sima Yi and Sima Zhao on separate occasions, but nothing that I would particularly put him above anybody else. I think he's a good choice here at number 48. Now, next up coming in at number 47, he's mainly here based on the description that was made for him, and that's going to be the NPC, Guo Si. So Guo Si was said to be a very fearsome warrior. He could cleave an army of thousands with just 100. Also, due to the fact that he fought Lu Bu one-on-one is why he's here on the list. A veteran character, I think he would do well in a 1v1 setting. That's pretty much all I have for him. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Next up at number 46, we have our first playable character making her appearance, and the only female character to make this top 50, and that is Miss Zhu Rong. Within the novel, she was reported to have captured and beaten 2 Shu officers. Of course, her portrayal within the games also adds to her ranking, and that's why she made it on the list for me. Alright, next up coming at number 45, definitely a miscellaneous general that probably people don't really know. His name is Yang Xin, and he's going to make here at number 45 for only one reason. This character was noted to have fought Ma Chao and nearly killed Ma Chao in a duel early on in his life when Ma Tang and Han Sui were going to war at each other. That is the only reason he's here at number 45. There is nothing else about him that makes him here. Just being able to hold his own and almost kill an officer of that caliber puts him here at 45. Next up, coming in at number 44, relying more on his playability within the Dynasty Warriors games, we have Zhang Bao. Zhang Bao within the novel, similar to Ma Dai, didn't have a lot of big feats. He slew a couple people, fought a character for a while until he forced him to flee. But other than that, his role in the novel was pretty minor, but I still would say he is among the strongest characters. I think his portrayal in the games is done really well, and that's pretty much it. That's all I have for Zhang Bao, number 43. Now, number 43, we have a son of Cao Cao, Mr. Cao Zhang. It was said that he wrestled wild animals with his bare hands, and he excelled in archery and unarmed combat. And he just seemed like quite the force to be reckoned with if he was noted again to be able to fight tigers with his bare hands. I think Cao Zhang with a weapon in his hand is a pretty deadly person, and from what I've read, I think he belongs on this list, and 43 is a good spot for him. Next up, coming right after him, we have Ding Fong, who I originally had him underneath of Cao Zhang after going through the historical information, but because Ding Fong is a playable character, giant of a man within the games, I think he would overcome Cao Zhang. He had a bunch of good feats of killing miscellaneous generals. He ended up losing to Guan Ping, and he's also the one that is credited with killing Zhang Liao. I think the biggest thing that I picked up from Ding Fong from the novel is that he killed an officer and then he got attacked right after by another one, disarmed him, threw his sword as he tried to flee, impaled him in the shoulder, and when the guy turned around, he stabbed him to death and ended up kind of winning basically a 2v1, and I think 42 is a good spot for him. Now, speaking of mauling people, we've got another NPC making our list, just shy of the 40s. We have Wang Shuang. So, Wang Shuang was from Liang province, known for his great strength, and from what I've read, the best comparison I can make for him is that he's kind of a later period Wen Chou. He had a 2v1 situation, ended up cleaving 2 people with a great sword, and then the Shu officer that Zhu Rong ended up capturing, he actually ended up severely wounding him in a different battle, and in that same battle, the combined forces of Wang Ping and Liao Huo, he ended up pushing back. During this time period, he was known to be a living terror to their forces at the time, and Wang Shuang for me is going to be number 41 on my list. Bringing up the last number in the 40s, we've got Guo Huai, who I originally had a couple spaces higher based on his historical information, but because of the way he's displayed in the games, very sick, always coughing, I think that would put quite the handicap on the character. He defeated several Shu officers along with Jiang Wei and Xiahou Ba at the time. However, in his last encounter with Jiang Wei, he was unable to kill him even though Jiang Wei was unarmed. He shot an arrow at him because Jiang Wei only had a bow on him, ended up catching that arrow, ended up flying that arrow back to Guo Huai and ends up getting killed by his own arrow pretty much. So Guo Huai for me is the last number in the 40s, I think just because of the numerous duels that he had with someone like Jiang Wei. Next up, coming at number 39, I think an underrated character in terms of strength, just based on the novel and what I've read. We've got Guan Xing. Guan Xing's got a couple of interesting moments from this game. He slew a handful of people. He seemed to be quite the force to reckon with. Ended up killing Zhou Tai's brother in one slice. Pan Zhang, the one who was responsible for capturing and being part of the execution of Guan Yu. He sliced through him with one slice. I think he's a good choice to start off the 30s, and his in-game iteration I think only helps him. I think it's a good spot here at number 39 for Guan. Alright, next up coming at number 38, we've got the handsome Zhou Yu. Honestly, the only thing of note that I wrote down for him for my notes is that he was known to be physically strong, and his iteration in the game, it carries him up to number 38. That's the highest I could give Zhou Yu. In terms of like an actual duel against a named character, I did not see it. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. But I'm going to put Zhou Yu at number 38 just because of his in-game iteration. Alright, next up coming at number 37, similar to the last number. I didn't write down a lot here for Li Dian, his in-game iteration, and just knowing who he is and how he accompanied Zheng Liao and Yu Jing, just helping people. I put him here at number 37. The only thing I wrote down for him is that he killed a character with an arrow while he was protecting Yu Jing. I don't know specifically, I couldn't find him specifically dueling somebody similar to Zhou Yu, but because he was part of the volunteer unit to go with Zheng Liao to raid the main heart of the Wu forces during Hefei, I'm putting him here at 37. He went in there, he survived it, completely helped terrorize the Wu forces with Zheng Liao, and I think Li Dian, kind of an underrated, strong character. Next up, coming at number 36, we have Yang Liang, one of the most mysterious characters on this list, because I've heard different things about this character. I've heard he's one of the best characters from this period, and then the games don't show that. He did have a couple of decent good feats. I think 36 is a good spot for him. He ended up killing a couple of Wei officers really easily during the Battle of Guandu. He forced Xu Huang to flee after about 20 rounds with him, and it was also noted that he made Lu Bu flee during the battle. But I think 36 is a good choice for Yang Liang. That's where I'm going to put him. I can't verify some of the things I've heard about him being one of the best people in terms of fighting at this time, but I think he is a pretty strong character, and 36 is a good spot. Now, coming in at number 35, we have one of the newest characters from the Dynasty Warriors series. Mr. Hua Xiong is making the list here at 35. For his fall as Tishui Gate, he did have quite a bit of victories before, obviously, Guan Yu killed him in one slice. With one of the people that he fought, according to the novel, he ended up displaying some of his skills pretty well. He ended up falling into an ambush, and the person ended up dashing at him. Hua Xiong was way too quick, dodged, and then killed him in one slice. He also ended up killing a renowned general of Yuan Shao at the time. His iteration in the game ended up bumping him up one. I originally had him one spot lower, but I think he would beat Yang Liang. Hua Xiong, great choice here at number 35. Go ahead and move on. Alright, next up coming at number 34, we have the second strongest character from Yuan Shao's forces, in my opinion, and that is going to be Wen Chou. And the reason that he's up here is because of the feat of dueling Zhao Yun for 50 bouts before being forced to flee. It's quite the conundrum to think about how strong Zhao Yun is, and Wen Chou was able to hold his own for 50 bouts. This character had to have been skilled to be able to hold out for that long. And then with the battle of Gung Zun Zan, he ended up beating him in about 10 bouts, repelling another 3 that were sent after him, just slaying all the fodder that was along the way. But yeah, that's all I have for him. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Now, coming in at number 33, we have, in my opinion, again, the strongest character from Yuan Shao's forces. I don't know why he doesn't get more spotlight. We have Ji Ling, and he used a 60-pound trident to fight people. 60 pounds, and he's just swinging it around like nothing. The two things that I read about Ji Ling, or I guess the two things that made him on this list, is that he fought Guan Yu for 30 bouts before fleeing. So he got tired and ended up fleeing. So I guess that's technically a loss to Guan Yu, but he didn't die. And then at some point it was noted that he ended up repelling the forces of Liu Bei, Lu Bu, and Gao Shun from gaining ground from a particular battle. Coming in number 33. Next up, coming in at number 32, similar to Li Dian, we've got Han Dong. I did not find a lot of dueling aspects for him specifically. He did fight a certain officer for about 30 bouts and ended up killing him. But the reason he's up here at 32 mainly is because of what I know about the character and how I know Han Dong is represented. Because within the novel, there's not a lot of, and I could be wrong, there's not a lot of one-on-one duels for Han Dong. And then you have his iteration within the games. Not the best iteration, but still, I think he still poses quite a threat. And I don't think Han Dong was a slouch by any means. I think Han Dong is more than capable of handling himself. I think he's a good choice here at number 30. So coming up at number 31, similar to the last one, we've got now Huang Gai. Similar to Han Dong, there's not a lot of one-on-one dueling aspects for Huang Gai. The reason I also put him here is because of the plan before the fire attack. So in order to really convince Huang Gai was defecting to Wei, they had to really beat the crap out of him in front of the spies, so that way they would report back to Cao Cao how badly he was treated. Like, they did not hold back. They did some really rough things to Huang Gai, and he was able to withstand that one and then be able to pull off the fire attack, right? So think about how fresh those wounds might have been, and he's jumping into the water, you got the salt in it, and he's just able to, you know, push past that. Even during the fire attack, he got shot by an arrow and then fell into the water. So I think Huang Gai's tenacity and toughness is what puts him up here, along with his early iterations in Dynasty Warriors 3, 4, and 5. I mean, that's pretty much it. Huang Gai's a beast, man. Alright, next up, coming in at number 30, I think it's a great choice for him. We have Cao Ren. Defeated a lot of miscellaneous people. Saved Niu Jin after they ended up being surrounded by Zhou Yu's troop. Again, similar to Huang Gai, he's got that tenacity, that fervor that I think would only enhance him in a 1v1 aspect, and that's why he's here at number 30. Coming in at number 29, I think he's underrated because of the way that he ends up going out, but Eugene coming in at number 29 I think is a really good choice. I think up until the point of Fawn Castle, this character was pretty much undefeated. I mean, he ended up being an elite general of Wei for that reason. I don't think Eugene would have survived if he fought Guan Yu, but I think he had a certain level of strength against quote-unquote unnamed officer, and his iteration in the games is pretty good as well, but I think it's a good spot for him. Go and move on to the next. Alright, next up, coming in at number 28, we have, in my opinion, one of the best generals from this time period. We have Lu Meng. Lu Meng, in terms of strength, definitely deserves to be up here. I mean, at 14, this guy was fighting bandits like no problem. I think Lu Meng in a 1v1 setting would be quite the adversary to deal with. I think puts him solidly here, and that's pretty much all I got for the opening. Alright, next up, coming in number 27, another character who I think is underrated in terms of strength. We've got Guan Ping. According to what I've read, I mean, Guan Ping was an absolute monster in Fawn Castle. He ended up fighting a guy for about 3 bouts and forced him to flee. Then another guy came in, fought him for half a dozen bouts and caused him to flee. And then Shu Huang came in, fought him for 3 bouts and caused him to flee as well. He ended up beating Ding Fong. Yeah, he killed a character that was retreating because he ended up getting the better of him. And then I think the best one of all, he ended up dueling Peng De to 30 bouts and he drew with him. It was said that neither character could get the advantage on the other one, which means Guan Ping is on par with people that Peng De has fought, which puts him up here. So I think 27 is a good spot for the son of the god of war. Let's go and move on to the next. Alright, next up, coming in number 26, another underrated strong character within the games, the series, is Cheng Pu. Cheng Pu is so underrated, man. At least in the novel, they give him so much in the novel, and I think the games did him really well. He ended up killing Lu Gong, which is the guy who killed Sun Jian. He killed him easily. And then it was noted that he ended up fighting Tai Shi Ci for about 30 bouts, and they drawed out, right? And Tai Taishi C was drawing with Sun Ce after about like 100 or something like that, which we'll get to a little later. And then it was also noted that he repelled Zhang Liao's attack on Sun Quan. So I'm sure he traded blows with Li Dian and Zhang Liao and the other miscellaneous people around him. Cheng Pu is an underrated monster. I think he deserves to be on this list. 26 is great for him, right before the top 25. Now, coming in at number 25, starting off our top 25, this character made top 20 for me last time. He is now dropped down to the 25th position, Xiahou Yuan. He didn't have as much information as I thought he would in the novel. He does have quite a few duels of killing people. He ended up dueling Zhang Fei, but he ended up getting repelled. And he had a really good moment during the Battle of Hanzhong, fighting this miscellaneous unknown person for about 40 bouts, and then he pretended to be defeated and killed him while he was being pursued. I think he shot him to death. And then before his famous death to Huang Zhang, he ended up actually fighting the old man for about 20 bouts before they ended up separating. So, and then within the games, I think he's okay, but he won't go any higher on this list for me than 25. Alright, next up, coming in at number 24, we have the Barbarian Wei Yan. So Wei Yan's got a couple of good stuff on his resume, but the main reason that he's on here, the first thing is that he ended up fighting Pang De twice. Similar to Guan Ping, when you fight a character of a certain stature and you draw out on them, that in my eyes makes them look stronger because they were able to hold out and not perish from a character who's fought people of higher calibers. The main reason that Wei Yan's here at 24 because, just like we talked about earlier in the list, he ended up killing Wang Shuang after he went on his rampage, which was a huge feat at the time. Of course, his in-game iteration helps as well. So Wei Yan coming in at number 24 for me. That's all I got for him. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Next up, coming in at number 23, we have one of the most insanely brave characters on this list. We have Ling Tong. So obviously, saving Sun Quan from the rampage of Zhang Liao is the reason, one of the main reasons that he is up here at 23. He ended up fighting Yue Jin on 2 different occasions. In the first one, he ended up fighting him to about 50 bouts before they end up drawing out. And in the second one, he actually almost gets killed before Gan Ning saves him. It was also noted, I believe it was the Battle of Rushiku, where he fought Zhang Liao for about 50 bouts to a draw before being escorted away. So Ling Tong being able to, again, not only stop him one time, but to be able to go toe-to-toe with him once again without being killed, absolutely insane. Ling Tong in the games also, I think, helps put him up here. The nunchucks are a fun weapon. He's even good with his triple staff. He's a beast, man. Absolutely insane. When it comes to bravery, he's among the best. Mr. Ling Tong. Alright, next up, we've got the Patriarch of the Wu Kingdom, the Tiger of Jiangdong, Sun Jian. Originally had him up a couple spaces higher, but I dropped him down to number 22. We know how strong he was and potentially could have been. He was a force to be reckoned with, killing people at the age of 17 with his father, and having a couple of really cool early feats that ended up rising him to fame. And I think 22 is good for him, but I don't think he's going to move for me any higher than that. Alright, next up, just shy of the top 20. This character was in my top 20 last time, but he is just one number shy of it. That's going to be Jiang Wei. I think he is very talented. Pretty cool feats that I read about within the novel. Starting off with fighting Deng Ai. He fought Deng Ai for about 30 bouts until he drawed out, and then he fought his son, or he fought his son actually before Deng Ai, but he fought his son for about 50 bouts to a draw as well. And I think the reason that he's up here is because of the later feats that he had. He ended up on the ground because I think his horse collapsed and somebody was over top of him. He kicked the horse and ended up being able to flee because of that, which is insane. He dueled Zhao Yun, an elder Zhao Yun, and ended up holding his own. And Zhao Yun actually ended up praising his spear skills. And again, just like I mentioned with Guo Huai, he was unarmed and ended up killing him with his own arrow. Absolutely insane. And the last thing I have written down for him is that he fought 4 people at once before he ended up retreating. I think Jiang Wei is underrated because of the way he's displayed in the games. But even in the games, I think he's pretty he's just monstrous. Jiang Wei definitely deserves to be here. I don't think he's a top 20, but he is definitely a strong character. So 21 is good for him. Alright, next up, coming at number 20. Starting off our list, we've got Xiahou Dun. He's much higher for me than the last one, but I'm going to bring him down to 20 here. And some of you guys might think he's still too high, but I don't think Xiahou Dun was a slouch. I think he was a strong character to deal with. He fought Lu Bu, he fought Zhang Liao, he fought Gao Xun for about 50 bouts. Of course, he fought Guan Yu, you know, pulled out his own eye and ate it. And then the fact that the way he's displayed in the game, I know some people don't like it, but that's the way he is. And because of the way he's displayed in the games and from what I've read, I think Xiahou Dun's a great choice here at number 20. I know he was better as a politician, but I don't think Xiahou Dun was a slouch by any means. He's going to be starting off my top 10. Now, coming in at number 19, another character who dropped from my original list, we've got Huang Zhang. He ended up killing Xiahou Yuan. His tactic was so, surprising in the novel that it shook him. I don't think Xiahou Yuan was able to actually defend himself. He just killed him that quickly. Ended up fighting Zheng He at some point with the help of Yan Yan, and Zheng He ended up praising him as a hero. He's no slouch, but unfortunately, he ends up being killed by Peng Zhang when he gets led into an ambush. He gets injured and ends up passing away. I think Huang Zhang's impulsiveness is what brings him down, but still worthy of a top 20, one of the stronger characters from this game and the novel itself, and that's why the old man for me is at number 19. Alright, next up coming in number 18, he dropped a lot. He was originally in the top 10 in my first video, but he's going to drop down to number 18 because I just don't have a lot of information on him, which is Mr. Wen Yang. The book doesn't go past a certain point, so I have to read later on about kind of what happened, and even then, it's very vague. He defeated a tribe of people, but I don't know what that really meant. Noted to be an 8-foot tall, really well endowed martial artist, which is a force to be reckoned with just off of that alone. He ended up fighting Deng Ai to 50 bouts to a draw, and of course he had the really cool feat similar to Zhao Yun of rushing in and out of a situation, causing Sima Shi's eye to pop out. He's got the really cool scene in Dynasty Warriors 8, and then of course the Javelin moveset along with the armor that he has on with. I would not underestimate him. I think 18 is a good spot for him, and that's it. Alright, next up coming at number 17, we've got one of the other 5 elite generals of Wei, Yue Jin. But some of his biggest ones I would say is of course fighting Ling Tong for 50 bouts to a draw, technically beating him until he gets shot in the face by Gan Ning. The biggest thing I think is when he ended up beating Guan Yu twice. Now, did he fight him one-on-one? I don't think so, but he stopped his advance, and that is enough for me to put him up here this high. I think Yue Jin is a fearless, absolutely courageous character that would go toe-to-toe with anybody, and that's why he's here. I mean, Yue Jin is a badass character. The hook plates in the game are awesome. I ain't got much else to say about it. Alright, next up we've got Deng Ai. So Deng Ai, again, like I've already mentioned, he fought Zheng Wei, he fought Yan Yang, and he is the reason that the Three Kingdoms period gets shattered, and he was just noted to be a pretty strong, well-endowed character, and within the games, I think it plays to that a little bit, and the Sea Spear was okay. It wasn't anything too crazy. It would definitely be a very difficult weapon to fight against if you've got a weapon coming at you and it's spinning constantly, and he's a good choice here at 16. Alright, next up coming in at number 15, he was originally a couple spaces higher, but I brought him down because I think the characters above him in-game had the advantage over him, but still doesn't take away from the fact that Zheng He is one of the strongest characters in general. He defeated Ma Su, obviously. He actually ended up fighting Zhang Liao at the Battle of Guandu for about 5 bouts to a draw. I don't think it was said either character got above each other, so that's crazy to see. He ended up fighting Zhao Yun for about 30 to 40 bouts before he ended up retreating, and then he fought Zhang Fei 3 times and ended up losing all 3 of them, but he fought them 3 times without dying, which is insane. Again, he fought Huang Zhang, he fought Meng Da, beat him, and Zheng He has just got a lot to his name. I think he definitely deserves to be in the top 15. One of the strongest characters, hands down, in the games. I think also attributes to that. He's got the claws, and I think he's a solid choice at 50. Alright, next up coming at number 14, we've got Tai Shi Ci. So starting off with Sun Ce, he fought him to about 50 bouts the first time, 50 bouts again for the second time, and then they ended up wrestling each other down to a hand-to-hand combat. Sun Ce ended up grabbing his spear while he took the helmet off of Sun Ce, and when Sun Ce went to go like stab him, he used the helmet to defend himself, which is crazy to think about that. He could put the helmet in the right position to not get himself killed. And then like I mentioned before, he fought Cheng Pu for about 30 bouts, and then he fought Zhang Liao at the Battle of Hefei for about 100 bouts. He wasn't killed by Zhang Liao in the novel. I think that's only exclusive to the game. Tai Shi Ci is a beast. He definitely deserves to be here at 14. Next up, coming in at lucky number 13, we've got Gan Ning. Within the novel, he did a lot. He slayed and killed a lot of people. Again, he killed Yue Jin by shooting him in the face, saving Ling Tong. He ended up overcoming Cao Hong. He beat Cao Ren and killed a lot of people really easily. Yeah, there was also this moment that he had in like this banquet where Ling Tong attacked him with a sword, and he defended him by using just the chair he was sitting on. I think where he falls short is the death. He got killed by Shimok, got intimidated, tried to flee, and then he got shot in the head. And in the game, some of the game says he gets killed by Shimok's bare hands. It's crazy to think about it. So thinking about both of those instances, that's what brought him down for me. He is a force to be reckoned with. He's not some easy person to deal with. And from what I've read in the book, he seemed to be more talented with the bow than he did like hand-to-hand combat. That's all I got. Alright, next up coming at number 12. I don't remember what his number was. I think he was a little bit lower in my original list. But for this one, Xu Huang's coming at 12 to beat Guan Yu at Fawn Castle. He fought Shu Chu in hand-to-hand combat over some robe that they were given. He was noted to be a match for Sun Tzu. I think Shu Huang, because of the lack of content he's given, and he wasn't given much in the novel, I don't think as well either, that I think perhaps he gets underrated in the sense of how strong he is. He's always consistently training and trying to get better. A character like that is not going to be easily beaten. He's kind of a big guy too. I think Shu Huang is a great choice here. Number 12 is an easy choice for the White Knight. Go move on to number 11. Alright, next up coming in at number 11, kind of similar to Shu Huang, we've got Sun Ce. We don't know a lot about Sun Ce because similar to his father, he died really early, but I think because of his physical strength, at least noted in the game, I'm putting him here at number 11. For example, he fought Yu Mi at one point, captured him after 3 bouts, then killed another character named Fan Neng by shouting at him, which startled him, and he fell over and cracked his skull. And then apparently Sun Ce was able to crush Yu Mi, the one he just captured, to death by squeezing him in between his arm and body. And then of course fighting Taichitsu again to 100 bouts before they wrestled each other down, and he stole his spear. In the games, he's also really strong. He's got the Tonfas. I feel pretty good putting him at number 11, so I'm going to keep him there. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the top 10 strongest characters, in my opinion, from this set. Starting off with number 10, I think we have an extremely underrated character. I've already talked about him a lot. We've got Pang De. Like, he was originally at number 5 for me. His tenacity is on another level. We'll start with fighting Guan Yu. So he fought Guan Yu for, in total, about 150 bouts. The first time they fought, 100 bouts to a draw. He drew with the God of War. Second time, he dueled him for 50 bouts, and then he feigned retreat. While he was retreating, he shot him in the arm with an arrow and wounded him. Also, during the battle, I believe it was Tong Gate or Zhang Lu, I forget which one it was, but he fought Zhang He, Xiahou Yuan, Shu Huang, and Shu Chu, and didn't fatigue or fear any of them. And then all of them praised his prowess and skill. Absolutely insane. Like I mentioned with Wei Yan, he fought him twice, fought Guan Ping for 30 bouts to a draw, and before he ended up dying, he jumped on a boat, and when he jumped, he killed 10 people right away. Pang De is insane. He is an insane character, and the reason I brought him down is because of his Dynasty Warriors iteration. I've already said a lot. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, next up coming at number 9, this character was originally in the top 5 from the last list. He's down here at 9 now, and that is Dian Wei. Dian Wei was known to have superhuman strength. During the Battle of Xiapi, Dian Wei collected a dozen javelins, and as soon as they got close, he spun around and slung every single one of those javelins and hit every single person. Did not miss a single one of them. That's insane. Like, he's out there playing track and field and just ripping through soldiers with this weapon. Absolutely insane. Then revisiting Wan Castle again, with one swing of the halberd that he had, he ended up breaking 10 enemy spears. 10 people pointing their swords at you, and he just rips through all 10 of them with one swing. But in the novel, he used 2 people as a weapon. Like, he killed or like grabbed 2 people and started like using them as a weapon and like beating people with it. Dian Wei, one of the strongest characters from the game. He would be a hell of a force to be reckoned with for anybody to go against. In the games, he goes toe-to-toe with Lu Bu. I mean, he is a beast in and out of the game, and that's why he's here. Alright, next up coming in at number 8, we've got Zhou Tai. Zhou Tai probably has the least amount of information out of the top 10. Zhou Tai was able to like be inflicted with wounds, but still be able to continue to fight and save people. For example, he hacked his way in to save Sun Quan twice and suffered several wounds, and arrow like dings to his helmet. And then after he got Sun Quan out, he went back in wounded to save Xu Sheng. A little earlier than that, the rescue at Xuancheng, which was around the conquest of Wu period time, he slew a bunch of bandits as they came into the city on foot, and there was a guy on a horse. He grabbed their spear, yanked him off of it, mounted the horse, and then went to Sun Quan to save him, and suffered another dozen wounds on his way out. And then of course he ended up killing Shimok after a very, very short bout. Shimok was known to be a really big person too. He was a big guy. He was like, he had like blood splotches on his face, very intimidating. No, Zhou Tai sliced him up in a couple of bouts. His in-game iteration is also insane. He definitely deserves to be in the top 10. I think 8 is a great spot for the Silent Warrior, and that's all we got. Now coming in at number 7, we've got another bodyguard making the list, and that's going to be Shu Chu. His feats in the novel are insane. I'm just gonna get to the good stuff. stuff. First of all, he fought Lu Bu for 20 bouts, holds his own. Then, during the Battle of Guan Du, he flies to the front and ends up killing 10 generals right away. And then the Battle of Runan, he ends up fighting Zhao Yun for 30 bouts. They draw out, and he ends up fighting him a second time, and they draw out, I think, again. Then he ends up fighting Zhang Fei a little bit shortly. And again, coming back to the robe thing, he fought Xu Huang hand-to-hand for a robe. And then he fought Ma Chao twice, 100 bouts each. So that's 200 bouts in total. And then, for some reason, he got naked and fought him again for another 30 bouts, leading to the spear that Ma Chao was using being broken. Like, Xu Chu grabbed the spear, broke it in half, and they continued to fight with half a spear. Cao Cao ends up getting worried about him, calls him back. He ends up suffering 2 arrow wounds, I think, when he gets called back, and then recovers, and he's totally fine. But that's insane. Fought Lu Bu, Zhao Yun, Zhang Fei, and Ma Chao. I mean, Xu Chu was a monster on the battlefield, and definitely deserved to be on this list. He drops down lower for me because this in-game iteration, it's fine. Anyway, number 7, Xu Chu, the Tiger Fool himself, absolutely insane. Now, coming in at number 6, we've got one of the scariest characters from this time period, Mr. Ma Chao. Starting off with Ma Chao fighting Xu Chu for 200 bouts, then again for 30 is an incredible feat. Xu Chu fought Lu Bu and he fought Zhang Fei. Ma Chao going against him, that brings his stature up a lot. He kills a lot of people pretty easily in one blow. There was one instance where he's fighting this guy named Li Mang, and he ends up coming behind Ma Chao, tries to stab him, traps it under his armpit, or he grabs it, and he literally rips him off of his saddle and kills him. Insane. He ends up fighting Zhang Fei for 100 bouts again, which is insane. And then during the battle of, I believe, Tong Gate, he ended up easily defeating Eugene, Zhang He, and Li Tong, and then overwhelmed Cao Hong in 40 bouts after being tired from the previous fight. And then, of course, his in-game iteration is absolutely insane, so I'm going to leave him here at number 7. Next up, coming in at number 5, we've got the poster boy himself making his appearance, Zhao Yun. Now, he has a resume and a half, so skipping to just the good stuff. Starting off with when he's older, about 70 years old, he ends up killing a character named Han De and all of his sons. The first son comes in, gets killed after 3 bouts, and then he holds his own against 3 of them, of the remaining 3 at once. Kills one of them. One of them shoots an arrow at him that he ends up parrying. The guy advances and gets killed by Zhao Yun, and then as the last one comes in, grabs him, throws him off the horse, and gets captured. The father, witnessing everything, rides out to avenge his son and gets impaled in about 3 bouts. Just destructive. Then going back to, again, dueling Zheng Wei, fought Xu Chu for 30 bouts. And again, he engaged Xu Chu a second time, and then later on, he fought the forces of Yue Jing and Li Dian together, holding them off. Of course, you got the, saving Liu Shan, skipping over to the Battle of Han River when he goes to save Huang Zhong. I mean, he rushed in, kills everybody, saves Huang Zhong. It actually was so frightening that the panic seized both Zhang He and Xu Huang. And I believe in that instance as well, one of his deputies was like stuck in a circle. So he had to go back in there and do it again, save his deputy, come back out, and and leave. And then I think the last notable thing that Zhao Yun did, he ended up killing Zhu Ran in one thrust at the Battle of Yiling. Zhao Yun is the epitome of one of the best characters from this game. Top 5 strongest characters for sure, and he deserves to be here at number 5. I swear I'm gonna get longer and longer by talking. Next up, we've got number 4, Zhang Liao. Another plethora of accolades. So he defeated Xiahou Dun once, then fought him to a draw on a different occasion. Then he again fought Zhang He for about 5 bouts, and now going into the service of Cao Cao. Again, the biggest thing for Zhang Liao is the Battle of Hefei. Now I couldn't find specifically like more things that he did during like his raid. He fought Ling Tong for 50 bouts to a draw before Ling Tong was escorted away. He fought Tai Shi for 100 bouts, and I couldn't find specifically him fighting like Gan Ning or Lu Meng or anybody else that was around during the Battle of Hefei, but I know it was noted at some point. So he's fighting all these people, he's pushing them back, absolutely going insane. And what I did find from it that would imply what Zhang Liao really accomplished during that battle was the terrible slaughter of this battle put such fear into Wu that his name kept the children at night quiet. So Zhang Liao, an absolute monster. The Battle of Hefei, a 1 to 125 odd. The games do a great job with him. Oh, and also in the games, he also ends up beating Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, and Zhao Yun all at once. All 3 of them, no big deal. Just slops them up and throws them back. Like, he is insane. I think where the fault is and why he's at number 4, only in Dynasty Warriors 7, he gets killed by Sun Quan. Ding Fong and Leon Shi, of all people, are holding his axes back while Sun Quan just kind of like stabs him to death. I mean, he kind of just stands there, which I don't think that's how he would go down, but for some reason they wrote it in. It's part of the thing. That brings him down a little bit for me, because how are you going to mop up 3 of the strongest people and then you die to those 3? Yeah, I'm rambling. There's a lot I can say with the top 10 people. I'm trying to keep it short. Zhang Liao, number 4. Let me know what you guys think about that down below. Alright, next up coming in number 3, we've got the God of War Guan Yu. And maybe it's shocking for you guys that I put him underneath the top 2, which I'm assuming you guys already know, but I don't find it that shocking. Guan Yu is the God of War. He did a lot of insane things. So again, he fought that guy Ji Ling for 30 bouts and then tired him out, and then this guy came in to replace him and he killed him in 1 slice. Ended up doing Huang Zhong to a quote-unquote draw for 2 days. Killed Wen Chou in 1 blow. Hua Shang was killed, right? Yang Liang was killed. So many people were killed. He's got a long list of people. You know, the 5 people at the 5 gates that he killed, all those people he sliced up, right? Skipping down to the Battle of Fan Castle, right? So, again, fought Peng De for 100 bouts to a draw. Second time, Peng De shot him in the arm. Took him 10 days to recover. Then he's standing outside the castle talking to, like, Cao Ren, and he gets shot with a poisoned arrow. So what he does, he goes back to the camp. They bring a doctor in, and to show his magnanimous nature, he decided to play a game of Go while just gritting his teeth while they scrape the poison off of his bones. Guan Yu is obviously one of the strongest characters from this game, but I think he's 3rd. I mean, he's an insane character when it comes to withstanding pain, and I think the games also do a good job displaying that as well. Guan Yu, number 3, bronze medal. I think it's a good choice. Move on to number 2. So as you get like towards the top of the list, I'm assuming it's easier to guess who's coming next. But anyway, number 2, we've got Zhang Fei. Alright, the reason that Zhang Fei is above Guan Yu, I think he has more significant feat. First one, fought Lu Bu for 50 bouts. 50 bouts before Guan Yu and Liu Bei joined him. That's insane. Second one, he ended up killing the character Ji Ling that I was talking about in 10 bouts when Guan Yu couldn't do that. And you could argue that, you know, Guan Yu killed Hua Shang and Yang Liang and Wen Chou and all that stuff, but I think Zhang Fei would have been able to do that too. I don't think that would have been out of his wheelhouse. And then we have him dueling Yan Yan, and he purposely like left an opening for him so that when he went to go attack, he grabbed him by the armor and threw him to the ground to capture him. Fought Shu Chu shortly. Of course, you have the Changban Bridge event. He ended up beating Zhang He on 3 different occasions, and I think Zhang Fei is 100% a stronger character than Guan Yu. Would he beat him in a 1v1 duel? I don't know for sure. Maybe. I think it would be tough to really decide, but I think because of Zhang Fei's ability in the novel to hold his own against Lu Bu, kill the character that Guan Yu couldn't, on top of having the skill and the tenacity to be one of the best fighters from this time period, and that's why he's there at number 2. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and oh, you're still watching for number 1. What do you want me to say about Mr. Lu Bu? His feats aren't as great, I guess. He doesn't have as many feats as everybody else because he dies early. Dude's insane, alright? He fought 3 brothers at once. Fought Zhang Fei, fought Shu Chu, fought Dian Wei, fought Xiahou Dun, fought 6 of Cao Cao's officers at once before he ended up retreating. And of course in the game, he's lauded as invincible, right? He's just absolutely insane. I don't have to go into it. You guys know who should be here at number 1. I can make this video 100 times over, and number 1 would not change no matter what. So that's all I have for the video, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it. A lot longer than any video that I've made so far, but when it comes to a subject like this for this game, I think it's deserving. I think it's really cool to talk about the strongest characters in this manner and discuss the top 50 and the differences and all that. Again, let me know down below, did I miss anybody, playable characters, anybody in this list you think should be a little higher, a little lower. Again, I tried to average out all the things I read in the novel, but the characters along with their in-game iterations and how they're presented, the weapons are given, all that stuff, and that's how I made my list. Anyway guys, that's all I have for the video. Hope you all enjoy it. If you did, definitely appreciate a like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.